This is Jerome Corsi. Today it is Monday. It's October 28th, 2024. Next week is the election, and we're quickly coming up on a decisive point in American history. I think Donald Trump looks like he's solidly ahead, and what we're doing at gods5stones.com is trying to prevent the steal. The Democrats can't win an election. They can't win this one unless they steal, and they're going to try to do it. Democrats, I think, have become a communist party. Now I think they've become a treasonous party. They want to destroy elections. They want to undermine the fundamental aspects of our Constitution. I think Democratic Party has become dangerous. And God's 5 Stone, and that's G-O-D, no apostrophe for the S. God's 5, you spell out 5, F-I-V-E, and STONES.com. And we do appreciate donations. It keeps us going. Keeps us to get the ability to get more states covered. And we're going to continue with this after the election, because cleaning up this problem, cleaning up our voting rolls, cleaning up our voting is essential. And the Democrats are doing everything they can to encourage cheating. The Democratic Party is a disgusting party. We'll cover that in a minute. I want to go on God's 5 Stones. Andrew Paquette, Dr. Paquette's report is now done on Arizona. And what we found is pretty shocking. There are algorithms in the Arizona database. I think the most striking thing he found was that there are over 1 million clones, double voting registrations in the Arizona database of 6.8 million Arizona's full voter roll, which is in a population of 6.8 million people. They've got 1,176,000 clones in this database. I mean, these clones are available. That's half of those. So 500,000, they got roughly 500,000 voters the algorithms could pick to cheat. Double voters right there. And they're not cleaned up out of the data roll at all. So these registration numbers with the false voters in them are, I'll be reporting on this. I'll try to write up this morning an article for Gateway Pundit on this, because I think this is really significant. We're finding the same thing all over the country. The Arizona rolls. The report is up on God's 5 Stones right now. And we'll be publicizing it because Arizona is one of the battleground states. And we'll be having meetings today with Arizona to really get into this. Because I think this report demonstrates and documents that Arizona is dominated now by the Democrats. Everywhere the Democrats are, you get nothing but corruption, crime, etc. The rally at Madison Square Garden yesterday was enormous. That was packed. There was probably 500,000 people in New York for the rally. Of course, they couldn't get into the Madison Square Garden. Many of them were outside. But I want to play a couple things. Robert Kennedy gave a great speech, and I want to begin playing a little bit of Robert Kennedy, what he said, because, I've written the book on Jack Kennedy's assassination, the assassination of JFK, with David Mantik. Earlier this year, we published it in March, and it showed that John Kennedy was shot by 2 shots from the front. It's optical density measurements. It's called, the title is The Assassination of John F. Kennedy, the Final Analysis. And I really recommend that everybody take a look at that. I was close to the Kennedys when they were in office. I saw them many, many times in Congress. And John Kennedy was a president who today would not even fit in the Democratic Party because he's not a communist and he wasn't a traitor. Let's play this clip from Robert Kennedy. I think it really says a lot. He got enormous applause to start, and he had a hard time even getting the speech going. He got so much positive applause. And we'll start it here in a minute. But the applause was just tremendous.
Asked me why I left the Democratic Party. And I say, I don't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. This is not the party anymore of Martin Luther King, of Robert Kennedy, of John Kennedy. That was the party of peace. It was the party of constitutional rights, of civil rights, of freedom of speech. It was the party that wanted to protect and nurture the middle class. It was the party that stood up to censorship, to surveillance, that stood up to the CIA, to the military complex, military-industrial complex. And it was the party that wanted to protect public health and women's sports. My uncle, Ted Kennedy, wrote Title IX, which protected women's sports in college. It was the party that believed in voting rights and fought for the right of every American to vote for the person of their choice. Today's Democratic Party is the party of war. It's the party of the CIA. You had Kamala Harris giving a speech at the Democratic Convention that was written by neocons. It was belligerent, pugnacious. It talked about the domination of the world by the United States through our weapons of war. It's the party today that wants to divide Americans. It's the party that is dismantling women's sports by letting men play women's sports. It's the party of Wall Street. It's the party of Bill Gates, who just gave $50 million to Kamala Harris. It's the party, and the Harris campaign is very proud that it received the endorsement of 50 former CIA agents and officers, and of John Bolton, and of Dick Cheney. These are the people that gave us the war in Iraq, the worst foreign policy catastrophe that's ever happened to this country.
Okay, Chris, I think
These are the
you
people
can
that
stop
gave
it
us
there.
the Patriot.
He goes on to say all the things the Democrats have done, and Democrats are disgusting. I think the country is sick of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is now destroyed. And these people who have been doing the election fraud, I mentioned Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, these people are going to go to prison. If Donald Trump gets in, these people have not only committed election fraud, they've done malfeasance of their duty. I think they're treasonous. I think we should get some trials here for these people being traitors, trying to destroy the election system. They know very, very well that the systems they have for mail-in balloting, allowing illegals to vote, every single proposal the Democrats make is designed to steal elections. And I'm sick of it. That's what this whole algorithms. We found algorithms now embedded in virtually every state we've looked at. Again, we're just releasing the report now on Arizona. It's up on God's Five Stones. And you can see that Robert Kennedy has left the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party needs to go to hell right now and be incarcerated and tried for treason. This is really ridiculous. We don't have these people. I'd like to, Chris, put up the article from Fox News if you would. I put it here in chat. It was an article all this weekend that they ran about Archbishop Vigano, who gave an open letter last week to Catholics. We covered it very strongly. I played a big role in working with Archbishop Vigano to get this done. And here you have the leader of the CatholicVote.org, whose name is Brian Birch, Burch. He was on Fox News and said essentially that this that Archbishop Vigano was right, that Vigano wrote that while Trump has different problems in his positions on abortion, etc., that in Donald Trump's America, every Catholic can practice their faith and educate their children in it without interference from the state, called Harris an infernal monster who obeys Satan, arguing that in her America, Catholics and Protestants are considered fundamentalists to be marginalized and eliminated, and their children are considered the property of the state. He's right. He said Trump's America can become great and prosperous again. Harris's America is destined for invasion and for moral, social, and economic destruction, the most ferocious dictatorship. American cities have become dumps filled with derelicts and criminals, drug dealers and addicts, prostitutes and robbers, while schools have turned into dens of indoctrination and corruption, starting in kindergarten. He said that Harris was a puppet of former President Obama, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and George Soros. He said Trump is committed to freeing America, which he called the tangled grip of the so-called deep state. It was a very, very good statement from Archbishop Vigano. Chris is showing it to you now. And the articles that came out afterwards, after Tucker Carlson did a tweet on it, which got 20 million views on it, 2 million views on it, almost 2.7 million. Then we have the open letter from the Archbishop Vigano. We covered it extensively last week, and we'll be doing more on it this week as well. I also have gotten my first copy of the book. It's a small book, but it's the excommunication. It's up on Amazon. It's called J'accuse, I Accuse. This comes from another trial in the Vatican, and it's Pope Francis excommunicated Archbishop Vigano because Archbishop Vigano opposed the LGBT agenda of the Pope and would not go along with it. And the Catholic Church has become essentially a homosexual organization with pedophilia, with little boys being the major sin. And I couldn't agree more with Archbishop Vigano that his being excommunicated by this Pope is an honor. Because again, this Pope has ruined the church. And this is not the Catholic Church. It's not the true Catholic Church. There's a Catholic Church that is woke. It's Vatican II. It's now these synods, these meetings with the bishops to bring in the LGBT. The true Roman Catholic Church, which Vigano represents, and he writes so well about it over and over again. He said the world hurtles towards the precipice, led into the abyss by rulers who are subservient to evil. The crises invented by the elite lead to suicidal measures on all fronts, health, economic, and social. The corruption of the ruling class is so great and so widespread that it cannot ensure their foul secrets are kept for long. And the closer the moment of collapse gets, the more they plot to destroy everything, so the rubble of a war can cover up their crimes. For this reason, they trust that the Great Reset can lead after destruction to a new beginning in the globalist dystopia, the new world order that is the kingdom of the Antichrist. He is so right. It's not a very hard read, but it's a very important read. Important read to see the deep church, like the deep state, has become corrupted by evil. And I mean evil in the classic sense of Satan. Now, Chris, why don't we play a clip from Donald Trump and at the rally last night, because I think he was magnificent. And then I'm going to ask you to comment on all this. So let's see if we can cue up something from Donald Trump from yesterday.
After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of the USA. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We bleed the same blood. We share the same home. and we salute the same great American flag. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down. And we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win.
A great clip. Chris, what are your comments?
I would say I'll be honest with you. I've never been a big fan of rallies. I'm not a rally guy because basically it's a politician bragging about him or herself. What I look for is other things during a rally. Like, let's say a few weeks ago when the liberals were making fun of Donald Trump swaying back and forth to dancing, it was really because Donald Trump was waiting until somebody within the audience, within the rally, was in need of medical assistance. So he did not want to speak over what was going on. That's important. That's what I saw at that rally, and that's important. What I see at this rally are, and if you look at this, the joke is, or the left's commentary about this was, oh, look, it's going to be another 1939, the Nazis. Oh, look what they did. And you see probably a more diverse crowd here than you would expect if you only listen to MSNBC or the mainstream media.
They are the Nazis. They are the
Right.
ones who want to destroy our rights. They're the ones who want to imprison anybody who doesn't agree with them, cancel culture, censorship, have wars. I mean, destroy the economy, kill the middle class.
Yeah, and within this was the president of Death Row Records. If you know, Trump has been more popular among the rap community than one might expect a Republican candidate. Although again, he hung out with some of these guys when he was a Democrat, giving those guys money. But the president of Death Row Records, who got I guess got commuted or pardoned or something like that with him, spoke on his behalf. You had, like you said, Robert F. Kennedy, who spoke on his behalf. This was a very wide-ranging tent of political thought. Whereas if you look at the Democrat side, you're basically getting the same message over and over again by the same kinds of people.
Yeah, the message is evil. The message is they
Right.
want to kill babies.
Yes.
They want to mutilate children in school, alter their genital organs with operations before they reach the age of puberty.
Yep.
These people are insane. These people are demons.
And there's something to be said for having a sense of humor during a campaign. And I don't mean sense of humor by laughing and giggling and being vicious and making jokes like that, but poking fun at the other person in a fun roast type of fashion, which is something that Donald Trump did here when he was making fun of Kamala Harris with the teleprompter failure.
But one thing you have to know is that no matter how good your people are that operate this machinery, it's going to break. And you're going to be out there all by yourself a lot. And you got to be able to do so. 3 weeks ago, she was saying there was only 32 days left, right? And she's reading it like, there's 32 days. And it stopped. And she went, there's 32 days. 32. 32. And I was watching. I said, this isn't pretty. 32. She was gone. And then, damn it, it kicked back on.
Again, he's having fun with this whole thing. It just seems like the guy's energetic as all heck. He spent 3 hours talking to Joe Rogan on Friday night and then had this big weekend after that.
Well, it energizes Trump. Trump is energized by this. This is not tiring for him. He gets more energy doing these things.
Maybe he's the one who brings joy to the campaign.
Well, the campaign is a reflection of the candidate, and Trump is very much of an up person. When he was educated, when his father took him to church, they went to Norman Vincent Peale's church in southern Manhattan, down by 35th Street, and that was all the power of positive thinking. It was Norman Vincent Peale. And it did rub off on Trump. Trump has always exhibited that characteristic. Now,
but what he does do, and I just want to interject here, if you don't mind, what he does do is he also has been taken to being a little more presidential when it comes to his composure. Since the debate, by the way, with Kamala Harris, when he got his when he got a little riled up, and rightfully so, he got riled up because she poked at him. She got the little moment with him getting all mad about the crowd sizes. But from then on, he became a lot more calm. Even when he was joking, he looks straight in the camera, straight out to people, looks you in the eye, in general, and just talks. He does make his fun. He does wave around a little bit, but he basically has been more straightforward in his delivery than maybe before that debate. If you think, if you look at it, these are the things I look at when it comes to rallies or speeches or anything like that. Because generally, by this time, it's the same. The content is virtually the same,
Well,
but it's what's
Kamala,
going on, right?
Kamala could never draw the audience that Trump does. You can't get 20 people in a room. These two, Kamala Harris and Waltz, are the two worst candidates I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen two this bad. You know,
Well,
Kamala is completely. I don't think she has a thought in her head, except for maybe cocaine or whatever else she does. You know, they were sitting there at the open mic, not realizing they were on the open mic and talking about how she's having trouble with men. Well, she's having trouble with everybody, quite frankly. And I'm just curious to see how many votes the Democrats are going to try to steal. We're already catching them on stealing.
Well, let's take a step back to about a week or two, a couple weeks ago on your show, The Truth Central, and you can find that on the truthcentral.com, our YouTube channel, and everywhere else. They're all archived. Rumble, you know where it is. The idea is you were discussing how the State Department in Arizona was trying to keep recounts from happening and making sure that you can't, a quick certification can't be double checked into, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Well, now let's couple that with yours and Andrew Paquette's findings about the the clone voters and the and the algorithm found within the Arizona state voter rolls. All things considered, this rule came about, or at least came into it came materially during your investigation. I'm not saying the two might be related, but
Well,
it
I
just
think
seems like it's related. I believe it is related.
God's Five Stones has done a lot to bring out the algorithms and to expose this, and they know they've been caught.
Preemptive damage control, if you will.
Well, and what we're going to do now, and before this week is over, we have the data from Georgia, and I've got 3,000 people in Georgia who voted absentee ballots who are not on the voter registration database. So therefore, that's clear cheating, and we're going to explain how I think in Georgia that the algorithms got to the point where they're running two lists: the official list of the Georgia voters, and then the unofficial list, which is all the clones and other records that they've created that they can vote illegally. And I think they're going to have a massive number. I don't think it's going to be in the hundreds of thousands. I think it's going to be million or more illegal votes that are still available to the state of Georgia to vote surreptitiously. And this is going to be a big story. I'm going to report on it and show you the numbers. And I'm going to refer you to a group down in Georgia that has been working on this for a long time now. They've got the data and they've got the goods. It's the GA Nerds, Georgia Nerds. And we'll be featuring them later this week. But I've got all the data, and I looked at it over the weekend, and it's pretty explosive. Between Georgia and Arizona, we're going to be able to show how all these battleground states. We've also found the algorithm in Texas. We found it in Ohio. We found it in Wisconsin. We found it in Pennsylvania. So we found the algorithm in the key states that the Democrats want to steal. And I don't think they're going to succeed in Ohio, but in Ohio, I'm going to write about that. I think they're going to try to steal Sherrod Brown's seat back into the Senate and make sure he doesn't lose. But we're not done yet with this. There's a lot here that we're going to continue to cover. That will go down a little bit more. Right below there, there's Georgia Nerds. It's right there. The first double vote, and I can show you. We're going to show you some of their videos, which are excellent. You can play that one a little bit right there, Chris. Their videos are not too long. Let's see if we can cue that one up. It'd take a minute to get it going, perhaps, but it's a very good video, and she's very methodical in how she works. And I've got the list from her, so it's pretty clear that we're going to be able to show that Georgia is riddled with fraud. And these states are not accidentally riddled with fraud. They're intentionally riddled with fraud, and somebody needs to go to prison for this. Somebody needs to be tried for treason on this, because they went, Raffensperger and these others have gone to such extremes to preserve cheating that it's frightening. This is 4 minutes long, but let's just get into it a little bit. Let's hear a little bit of this one.
Georgia nerds have a very, very serious discovery today, and you're going to have to pay attention because it's complicated. Took us a while to figure out how to explain it. We've seen double voting in 2020, 2022, 2024 primary, and here we go in the 2024 general. Georgia's in a state of emergency. Nothing's changed. Hava says that the Secretary of State need to remove duplicate names from the computerized list. Not only is the Secretary of State not removing duplicates, they're purposely creating them after the original ID is canceled and then reissuing the canceled duplicate and double voting them. We've seen this in the deceased, and now we're seeing it in the purged registrants. Let's see how we got onto this case. We compared the voter history file to the absentee file. If you voted early in person, you should be in both files. But no, not this one. They only show what the heck? Then they show up on the October 11th voter roll for the first time, but they were canceled before. It's convoluted. It took us a while to figure out how to explain this, but now here shows their creation date, and they're sitting as an active voter on the 10-11 voter roll, but they weren't on our September voter rolls, and they weren't on our July voter rolls. Okay, so we said canceled as a duplicate. Let's go find the duplicate, and we did. Same name, birth year, and address. And this person was canceled. This is the purge person. Remember how we talked about a week ago about over 52,000 purge reissued on the voter roll? Here you go, purged in 07. We actually think this person lives in South Carolina. What? But they're back on the voter roll. Here's some data. They had a registration date of 8/19. Look familiar? Modified date of 8/26. Okay. Now, this reg ID, the original, also got credit for voting in the election. It's a double vote. This time they're in the absentee file is voting on October 18th. I mean, this is bad. I don't know if you realize. So now we have an old purged ID and a canceled duplicate, both voting early in person when the person lives in South Carolina. Let's recap. On 8/19, the old purged ID was brought back. And on the same day, the duplicate was created but hidden on the voter roll. On 8/26, the old purged ID was modified. On the same day, the duplicate was canceled as a duplicate. On a 10/11 voter roll, the old purged ID is active, and the previously canceled duplicate is on the voter roll for the first time, so it's back again as an active voter. On 10/18, the old purged ID voted, and we suspect the duplicate voted on this date. We know they got credit for voting. We just don't have an absentee to show the actual date. This is 2 inserted double votes on someone we believe lives in South Carolina. Georgia is in a state of emergency.
Okay, that's good. Right there. Stop that right there. This is the kind of thing that is now clearly indicates that there are criminals within the state board of election. This is something that could not happen by accident. Someone is doing this. And Ratzenberger is in charge. Ratzenberger goes to prison. This is election fraud. This is not voter fraud. Voter fraud is when a voter tries to vote twice or a voter votes inappropriately one way or the other. This is systematic. This is election fraud. This is built into the system. So you've got county workers or state workers who are actively manipulating the data this way. It has to be algorithm controlled. They have to be able to find these records, and they have to be able to hide the records and bury them. This is intentional activity, which is voter fraud. And we're going to go after this week in a massive way. I have no idea how much we're going to make out of this, because this is proof to the nation that the algorithms are not only present, but they're being used. They're being used in a way that is insanely obvious once you catch on to the scheme. So these people, like all criminals, think that they're really clever. They're going to be clever when they're, hanging from a rope at a gallows for treason. You cannot intentionally destroy the integrity of an election system because, again, this is fundamental to the rights we have. And under the 14th Amendment, the right to vote is fundamental. The denying of the franchise is one of the most, I think, egregious denials of a fundamental freedom that you can imagine. This is not stuff to be laughed at or joked about. And these criminals do. They put the identity thieves into the database to show how clever they are. Well, this is a final battle. It's underway. That's why we call this God's Five Stones. And I think the intelligence agencies are running the elections. In Georgia, I don't think they need much of the intelligence agencies. They taught them the tricks. The Georgia officials are the criminals. The entire Georgia Board of Elections ought to be arrested tomorrow. And this is going to start happening. So I think across the country, the Board of Supervisors and the Board of Elections had better realize that we're not going to file cases in the courts saying that there was voter abuse and that we ought to reverse these decisions. I think it's time to go for criminal cases against these people, to arrest them, to get them out of there, and to make it clear that the elections are not going to be run by traitors. These are worse than criminals. These are criminals who intend to destroy the United States of America. And their leader is Kamala Harris, and her leader is Satan. And Satan can go back to hell. I'm with Archbishop Vigano on this, and we're going to fight this battle. And we're not one we're going to lose. In the end, God always wins. God's going to win here too. We're headed right into the election. We've got our biggest week ever in God's Five Stones. I hope you'll follow us. I hope you'll donate. I hope you'll be with us at the end, because we're going to go beyond this. We're going to go beyond this to clean this up. We're going to make sure we have these issues of voter fraud and election fraud front and center. In the end, God always wins. God's going to win here too. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle that's going to be an historically difficult battle, but it's going to be a battle that we're going to win. And I want you to stay with us and support us. If you want to support our sponsors, I'm especially encouraging you to pay attention to what's going on in the economy, because we've got a situation right now where I'm convinced that the gold is going to go to $3,000 an ounce very quickly. And you need to get your IRAs and your 401ks out of the stock market. Today, gold is at $2,732 an ounce, and silver's at $33.53 an ounce. Gold is going to break through to $2,800 here very quickly, and you're going to see silver trading at about $35 an ounce. If you'd listened to me when we started talking about this, you would have already made a lot of money. On the get a copy of this book. I've predicted this. If Trump wins, you're going to see a global crash. It's going to lead to an historic gold rush. This is the time to get in now before it gets going. Call 1-800-519-6268. Get a free copy of this book, 1-800-519-6268. And also just take a look at all the offerings that are available on our website. And if you like the program, please support these sponsors. This is, you can go get the Walking Liberty $50 offer. You can see there's a lot on our website. There's a Walking Liberty $50 offer. Take a look at it. And what it does is it lets you buy up to 250 of these coins, or about 99.99% silver. And it's a first time offer for new people being introduced to Swiss America. But get some silver and talk to Swiss America. Secondly, for new customers, new people are going to be investing in gold and silver. The Secret War Against Cash Exposed. That's a very good report. Just fill out the form there and you get the report sent to you by email. It's right there on the main page. Don't have to search very hard for it. What the war on cash is doing. I'm also selling books. If you take a look, I'm selling a lot of my books here, and these are author's copies. Please get some of my books. If you want to support the program, this is a way to do it. The whole set there. I'll sign them and send them to you. These books, the prices there include shipping. Okay, this is Dr. Jerome Corsi. This is the thetruthcentral.com. In the end, God always wins. I encourage you in the spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14. Let's get on our knees and repent. If we do so, God will hear our prayer and heal our land. It's Dr. Jerome Corsi. Today is Monday, October 28th. We'll be back tomorrow, 2024. The year is ending quickly, and I'm praying it will end in a Donald Trump victory. God bless. Thank you for joining us.